Good evening. Tony Dattino, founder of the USA Memory Championship, and a bit excited on a Sunday watching some football. My first game here is Kansas City and a pool that I'm in, and it's going to be a nail-biter down to the end here in terms of covering the 10 points with Cleveland. And then, of course, Tampa and New Orleans comes on later today. But I had an article that I read today which really fits what we've been talking about, which is the Live with Tony brain health, brain fitness elements of what we need to be doing for good brain health. And it really was good. It talked about the 5 golden rules. I hope you can read that. The 5 golden rules, here we go on the bottom. 5 golden rules of diet and fitness for busy professionals. And I just thought it was a really fantastic piece that started with, since the options for health are endless, that's dinner time. I'm going to do this broadcast, though. All right. We got the beeper going off there. We're shutting it off. In any case, the options of getting healthy seem endless. Figuring out what you should do seems to be impossible. Finding the time to eat healthier and getting fitter comes down to the following handful of basic principles. So one of the things we hear more about is how many glasses of water should you drink. And, you know, anywhere from 8 glasses to 10 glasses. And I've read enough of science over the past 5 years that basically said that this notion of how many glasses of water is really crazy. We should learn to drink when we're thirsty. And, of course, they suggest you look at when you go to the bathroom and what the color is of what's in the bowl. But my point to that is the initial studies were done, and I've read that they weren't meant to have people fix a certain number of glasses of water or fixed number of steps. I've read things on that. It's, are you hydrated? And how do you judge your own hydration and the different foods and nutritional things that you have? Well, here's a simple tip. We can all do this. Instead of drinking 10 glasses of water a day, how about just drinking a glass before each of your meals? It's an easy way to control what you're eating as well as what you're drinking. And so before dinner, lunch, breakfast, have a glass of water. And it doesn't tell you whether it's 8 ounces or 10 ounces, but whatever you do is simple enough. 8, 10, 12 ounces of water before you eat a meal. And give that a go. I find myself drinking more water over time than I have in the past. And it just seems to satiate my appetite, especially in the evening at times, where some nights I choose not to eat extra snacks or things after dinner. So getting a glass of water before a meal. How's that for an easy one? To lose weight. Now this is it. So now why is that important? Well, our nutritional habits are important. Water is one of the sources of how our brain stays well. And how it stays hydrated. So being hydrated makes a big difference to our brain health. Losing weight. Well, consume fewer calories than you burn. Well, that seems to be easy, but here's a little calculation for you. Generally speaking, 3,500 calories will get you a pound. So 3,500 calories get you a pound. And if you want to lose some pounds, then what you want to try to do is something simple. Can you reduce your daily calorie intake by 500 calories per day? Just if you're at 3,500 calories, just measure. It's going to require you to measure your calories. Go for 500 calories less per day. You can do that by eating 500 calories less, or the flip of this is you can go out and exercise and burn up 500 calories of exercise. I think you may find it easier to reduce your calorie intake by 500 calories. Then this is another tip, right? Because calories in our nutritional inputs are significant, because where do we get the chemistry in our brain? It comes from the foods that we eat. Well, to eat healthy, shoot for 80-20. So I found tip number 3, eating 80-20. So eat less, 500 calories less, but go for an 80-20 split. Now, what does it mean by that? Unless you're a doctor or you're on a new trendy diet, 80% of what you eat should be healthy. Vegetables, fruits, low-fat proteins, whole grains. If you're doing 80% of what you eat is in that venue, then you're doing great. And the other 20%, if you want to cheat a little bit, okay, go cheat a little bit. But if you maintain that as a steady 80-20, You're doing what they call the Pareto rule. 80% of what you eat is healthy, 20% may not be, but at least you're bringing yourself into new habits that on an ongoing basis provide a longer-term benefit to your health. Now, why are the water, the calories, and eating 80-20 so important? Well, where do we get the oxygen we breathe? Where do we get the water that goes into our brain to keep it insulated? Where do we get the food that generates the electrical currents? It comes from the foods and the inputs that we take into our mouth, into our nostrils, things we hear. We can get into that, things we touch through our skin, dermis. And so there's enough of different inputs to our brain that all impact brain health. And what we're trying to do is get people to understand, even during busy times, there are things we can do that really help impact your own mental fitness. And so when we talk about brain health, when we started with the Maximum Memory Mastery online curriculum, we were surprised to find out that people were not just interested in what are some of the memory techniques that you can teach me about remembering people's names or remembering phone numbers or remembering a list of things to do. Or we found that people were interested in how do I improve my overall health of my brain. So we started with, so what are the elements that science would all agree to today that impact our brain health? And certainly our nutritional habits, I think we all know that. I don't think there's a secret about that. How we maintain our nutritional habits, our intake, what we're intaking, the proteins we have, the carbs we have, the sugars, the salts, how all of that impacts our thinking and the chemistry of how the fluids and the foods that we eat come together in our brain, create electricity, create the connection to our dendritic spine, and bam, off goes our thinking and our emotions and things of that sort. So more and more continues to be done on nutritional habits and its impact. So eating an 80-20 good diet, trying to lose weight, maintain good body fit, now brings us to what? It brings you to your cardio. So we also know good exercising is good for a healthy brain and also for good cognitive fitness. And the science just keeps coming out and coming out and coming out about good cardio habits of exercising. And you don't have to go crazy. This is what I'm working with a couple of people right now, where I'm just saying, look, if you live in a place where you got a stairway into your front door, or a stairway in your house that takes you up to a different level of the house, to an attic, or to a second floor, or even if it takes you up the steps to a living area. So all you had to do was for 20 minutes, 3 times a week. Just go up and down those steps. Nothing complicated about that. Go up and sit. They talk about doing squats. And squats to me is sit down in a chair and get up from the chair without using the arms of the chair. Use your legs and your thighs and just go up and down, sitting up and down in a chair. So here's the recommendation. Do some cardio. So we got it, nutrition. Now we're doing exercise. Improve your aerobic capacity, lower your blood pressure, and lower your body fat. 20 minutes of low to moderate intensity exercise will make you feel less fatigued and more energized. 15 minutes of moderate to vigorous cardio 3 times a week will get the job done. So we're talking 15 minutes 3 times a week for your own personal aerobic activity, your own personal brain health. So why is that important? Because 20% of the oxygen that we breathe goes to our brain, which impacts our thinking. It impacts our encoding and our memories. And so if we want to reduce our blood pressure, we want to lower our body fat, and we want to also increase our aerobic capacity, so our fuel that we're bringing in is more powerful, then you're putting more like you're putting jet fuel into your brain. So now we're talking about exercise in a mild way. And then to round out the exercise piece, boy, I wish I would have had this research 25 years ago, but it's talking about resistance training. You can either use weights or you can use these bands that you're pulling on, because what you want to do, you can do push-ups, you can do pull-ups, squats. If you're just starting out 3 times a week is fantastic. 15 minutes 3 times a week. And I tell people just lifting up milk jugs or water, gallon of water, and do curls. There's just a series of different things. The elastic bands that they sell. Taking a bike ride a couple of times a week for 15, 20 minutes and not use the speeds on the bike, but use your own legs and your thigh muscles and your leg muscles and your own aerobic activity. So these were the tips that I read in today's paper. It comes from an article in Inc. magazine, and they were talking about the golden rules of fitness for busy professionals. So let's close this out. What are the golden rules? Let's get some water in our bodies and drink a glass of water before each of every meal that you have. And let's not worry about you're going to go get 10 glasses of water every day. Get at least one before each meal. We want to consume 500 calories less during each of our daily eating habits. So figure out, now that requires you to know how many calories you're taking in. Number 3 is 80-20. I thought this was really fabulous. Get 80% of your calories from vegetables, fruits, lower fat proteins, and whole grains. We know more and more about nutritionist foods today. Number 4, get some cardio involved. You get some aerobic activities going, and there's just a whole host of things. I'm sure if each of you thought of your own creativity, you would find plenty of ways to get some cardio breathing into your body, into your system, knowing that that's going to impact your thinking and your brain. And then, of course, we want to do some weight or resistance training of some sort, and you can even push yourself against the wall and push yourself against the wall, lift yourself back. 15 minutes 3 times a week, and not only are you doing good for your body, but you're doing great for your brain, and you get a whole overall better outlook on life because it gives you something to go for, especially during these times of COVID-19. So this is a special Sunday evening before dinner, watching football broadcast, but I've been having some challenges with my laptop, and my expert in love and life helped to fix it, and she wanted me to test it, and I said, let me go live and do this, and let's postpone dinner for a few minutes. And so bonus broadcast tonight. If you got some time, check out the Maximum Memory Mastery online course. We continue to get good feedback on that, being comprehensive and helping people with the mental challenges that they can go through and the health issues that we can go through, and all focused on how do we help each of our Live with Tony folks and our USA Memory Championship folks create better lives for themselves, better brain health, better life expectancies, and certainly better social interactions during a tough period of time. So have a good evening. I'm going to go off to finish the KC Cleveland game, and then it's off to New Orleans and Tampa Bay for the 6:40 game that's on tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.